I'm good.
Hey guys, today we're here with Piano. Now, if you don't know who Piano is, he is the Hypixel Player Council member for Mega Wars. So I'm going to ask him a few questions. You at Piano?
Uh-huh.
Are you okay today?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
I'm doing good.
Oh, that's good. Many people know what the Hypixel Player Council is, but not exactly what you do. So, do you mind explaining what you do for us?
The Hypixel Player Council is generally a role I would consider a staff role to basically work with the community as a mouthpiece of sorts to go and throw ideas that the community wants to put into the games, any suggestions, feedback, balancing, and so forth, and allow me to communicate those ideas to developers, administrators, or concerns. We also work a bit with bug testing, and we also work with a lot of just general testing or for new games, for current games, and we just do a lot of close work with the developers of the server.
Okay. So we know your Hypixel Player Council, and you do a lot for Mega Wars. So are you just responsible for Mega Wars, or do you like balance other game modes as well?
Player council members can work on basically all games if they so choose. I have a more narrow focus on Megals because I put a lot of emphasis on the mini game compared to some others. Not to mention, I have a more ingrained understanding of like the meta community compared to some other mini games. But other members go through tons of different mini games, and usually, all you do need some basic understanding of other mini games because a lot of times council members help out with working on updates when it comes to like testing for bugs for new updates or patches and so forth. So it doesn't hurt, but I usually focus mostly on megballs.
Right. So do you have an impact on all the things that happen in Mega Wars, like the balance changes and everything like that?
All updates in terms of balance changes, not necessarily bug fixes because that is usually a different team, but for balance changes, content changes, all of that I do have a direct influence on, as well as other HPC members. Usually it's communication between us as HPC and developers, and we usually grab ideas from either ourselves or from the community, and then create proposals and just do a lot of feedback looping, more or less.
Okay, so for the people who don't know, back in like 2016, 17, you were very active on the forums. You've made so many suggestions in the past. What do you think your biggest like contribution is in terms of suggestions?
I think my biggest and most impactful contribution was the very strong push to implement some form of spawn protection and coin multiplication to sort of stop people from spawn killing because that was a very, very large and I would say extremely negative issue that pertains to neg rolls from 2014 to 2015 that really made a lot of mini games not fun for new players, even veteran players, because who wants to really get spawn camps for 20 minutes straight, you know?
Yeah.
So I think the whole implementation of having double coins while you're defending, having the spawn protection where you actually are invincible for moments of time, those were probably my most impactful and the changes I think were the greatest of mine at least, or helped out with.
Okay. Well, at current Mega Wars, there are a lot of cheaters, but like besides cheaters, what do you think the main problem is for Mega Wars at the minute?
I think the main problem with Meg Walls, and this is what causes cheaters, in my opinion at least, is a sense of a lack of consistent progression within the game. Before the Mythic update, most progression came from coins. You earn coins from kills, defending, from rushing rivers, and so forth. So there's a lot of ways to get coins, and you do not need to necessarily focus on one aspect of the mini game to progress. Now, since the Mythic update, at least in my opinion, people focus way too hard on final kills, final assists, and wins to progress through prestige points or now class points to progress farther into the game. Not to mention leaderboards kind of affect that too. So what happens, from what I can view, is that what I've observed is that since the Mythic update, players as a whole became a lot more competitive and a lot more antsy of sorts to get as many final kills or final assists as possible in a game so they feel like they did something in this game. Otherwise, it's like a waste, which then causes annoyances and anger. And that's what I personally feel leads to a lot of players turning to cheats.
Yeah, I
Once
agree.
there's a threshold, it becomes where cheaters just cheat because there's other cheaters that are, whatever it's the case may be. I understand that, but at least the initial reason why there's been some influx of cheaters, I do think comes from the final kill focus. Now, I don't think that the idea of mythic classes was bad. I actually think it was a very good idea. I just personally think that instead of finals or wins only, I think it should have had some base level of progression, no matter how much you do in a game. Where more you do, the faster you progress, sure, but there should be some base level progression, even if you don't really do anything significant. I think that would help a lot with decreasing people's being upset with the game, being upset with not getting all the points they want, and so forth. And I think that would have made the game a lot healthier from that point on.
So you say like the competitiveness of the game has led to a lot of problems. But on that, like, what do you think could be done to reduce the amount of cheaters like in every game?
Well, it's not a part of Hypixel that's really to blame here, because for a server with 100,000 players peak and so forth, and with a lot of developer time, not to mention hightail development, you really can't blame the server for these cheaters, because a lot of it comes from the cheaters' mentality of the question of why do they cheat in the first place? And the other aspect really comes from Mojang, where it comes to so many alternate accounts that are accessible, that you can buy, you can purchase for very cheap money, that it really, you can't really blame Hypixel for what they do, because this is the best they can do, because this is really what they have available to them. There's so much that they have to deal with between Mojang alt accounts and account security, and from between all that, plus balance a lot of these things going on. It's hard to really say there's a way to improve the amount of cheaters without directly affecting how Minecraft is as a base level through Mojang.
Right. Okay. We'll move away from the cheaters because I know Hypixel are obviously doing their best with that. But when you're developing Mega Wars and balancing it, when you look at classes, like what's the best class to have as meta?
The meta, ideally, when it comes to meta in general, at least my perspective is that there always is going to be classes that will be better than other classes, and that's inevitable. The idea, though, for balancing is to basically get classes to a point where they slowly but surely get the extremes closer to the middle, and just get everything around the same level of power as close as possible, and let classes be advantages over other classes. That's fine. It's kind of like extensive counterpicks or playstyle differences. That's not really an issue. Just to make sure there aren't extremes in the situation where they do too good of one thing or too good of everything, especially. So, like for example, I remember back when Pigman had strength and it also had high defense. It was able to heal itself and teammates. It was really just good at doing a lot of different things without any major weaknesses to counteract that. For example, for now, a class I think is a really good testament of how balancing works and how good a class can be without necessarily being stupid is Moleman. Moleman has a strong amount of damage through its ability, has a really good defense, but its major weakness is the lack of sustain. Once it loses its pots, it can't really heal well over time, so it becomes very much vulnerable at that point. And those have a sense where they have an extreme weakness that can be counterplayed by another class. That's a good goal to focus on when it comes to balancing it meta.
Okay, that's pretty interesting actually, seeing it how you guys balance things. Right, and on that, if you had complete freedom to change, remove, or just revert anything in the game, what would you do? Like, what would be the main thing?
Personally, I think I would probably just a lot of the times look into the Reclaim update and make changes in some small ports, which I think would have made it a much healthier long-term thing, because I do have a lot of disagreements with the Reclaim update. I personally felt that Pigman beforehand was fine. Spider probably could have been changed to what we're planning to change Spider to now. Back then, I think that would have been a much better path for it. Phoenix was always a weird situation because back then it was a pretty buggy class. The new Phoenix has a lot of different playstyles that some people enjoy, some people don't enjoy, some people miss the old Phoenix. So Phoenix would probably be a mixed case. But one of the things I actually personally liked that I disagreed was the whole concept of changing class upgrades. I personally found the whole 9 upgrade system to be perfectly fine back then,
Yeah.
and that the issue that changed it was just the gap between level 1 and level 9, which you can just simply do by making the upgrades between each level smaller and making the overall 1 to 9 difference very insignificant, like with warlords. And I think that would have been fine. Plus, that probably wouldn't impact the coin economy and so forth with the whole reclaim aspect. And that probably been a lot healthier as well. But to be fair, since reclaim update, coins aren't really the economical focus. It's not really the economy here anymore. It's more class points. So it wouldn't make a significant difference, but I think it would have been a better aesthetic at least.
Right. So on that, you talk about the economy and how everything's changed from when you had to go from level 1 to level 9 and now what it is where everything's a lot cheaper. Do you feel like getting a lot of coins quickly has made the game better for everyone, or has it had a negative impact?
I don't think coins as a whole, no matter how you put it, should be cared about in any sensitive way, because when you think about what coins are and how you get them, there are always ways to earn them that are both either very easy, very hard, but also it's always consistent, which is a good thing. But also there's boosters that you have to take into consideration where people will be able to get a lot of coins no matter what for boosters. And with that in mind, even if there wasn't a significant reclaim update, the coin economy would have still been where everybody can easily get coins. And I don't think that's really a bad thing. I do think that there should be some sort of gameplay place, like you have to do a certain action in the game to do significant progression, where it's specifically gameplay and not necessarily through boosters. And that's what we're planning to do with class points, where we're basically making class points the new economy of sorts, where instead of earning just coins, you have to also do certain actions. Those actions net points, which is like more like an experience of sorts. And from there, you can just basically upgrade your class or proceed your class without much issue.
Okay, that's interesting. Right now, in terms of maps and everything in the past that's been, so such as Aftermath, Gold Forge, do you think they have a chance of being re-added in, per se, Phase 2 update?
Maps as a whole are not really of the HPC's level. Basically, we can look at some maps, we can do some map testing, a little bit of it, but most map decisions come from the build team.
Oh, okay. Thanks for that. That's cleared it up for a lot of people. And now we'll move on to the last question, which is based on Phase 2. So do you think it will be as big as the Mythic update? And when do you think it will come out?
Well, first of all, do you mean Mythic update or Reclaim update? Because those are different sizes of updates, I would say.
I think the Mythic update was probably the biggest. A Reclaim update was pretty big as well. So do you think it will be around that size?
I think that if you combine all 3 phases, it will probably rival one of those updates, mainly because the initial goal of this update was not to really be content heavy. That was an afterthought, more or less. Most of the changes we were planning on was quality of life, long-term health of the game, where small things that people can enjoy, aspects of classes that are more fun to play with or against, and just so people are able to progress and not feel like they need to either go to cheat or to feel like that they are at some form of disadvantage to other players for whatever reason, to just sort of allow the community to be stabilized and stay healthy in a long-term viewpoint. The ideas of like Prestige 5, that type of stuff was very much a last minute, not last minute, but like a later part of development when it comes to the concept of creating the update. Overall, size-wise, though, it'll probably rival about the Mythic update, which I would honestly say is smaller than Reclaim, but not because of content, but just because of a lot of development changes that are going on in the long term. Like, there's a lot of mechanical, fundamental changes coming to the game through Phase 2 and Phase 3 that we've already mentioned through the player council threads that we've created a bunch of. And all of that probably would rival it, but not in a lot of people's or communities' viewpoints because it's not like we're adding classes. It's not like we're making a lot of changes in terms of new content. We're just revamping old content to be more streamlined or cleaner or easier to deal with or easier to understand. And I think just if you view that alone, that's a lot of changes, a lot of stuff that goes behind this stuff. That takes a lot of difficulty, a lot of time, but it's not necessarily as eye-opening necessarily or eye-popping compared to like adding 5 classes like Reclaim did.
Yeah, I agree. But from your opinion, when do you think it will be? Like rough estimate.
Honestly, we can't say anything about release dates or anything because, to be fair, we really don't know.
Okay.
Most times, not changes go on a releases go on a by change basis in the sense that once everything's done being developed and then being tested, then probably sometime soon after that it will get released. Usually, but then of course the development time, the testing time, it's not on our time frame; it's on the development time frame. So developer's time frame. So a lot of the times we're just basically waiting on the okay of we can test this feature or can you give me some feedback about this change? So we are very much in the dark of when something is estimated to be released, and there of course can be some sort of delays or unexpected situations that pop up, and especially for past years, there's been cases where I remember like a couple of updates were promised at a certain due date. They were delayed. They were delayed again and delayed again. And the community got really upset by it, and because of you made a false promise. And that's the thing. When it comes to development of these type of updates and so forth, you can't really promise it because the time frame always changes depending on how the situation goes internally. So I can't give an honest answer of when it'll come up because I have no clue. And if you ask the developer, they won't really have an idea of when it'll come up either because it's purely based on the time frame situation of when it can get work.
Okay then, right. Is there anything else you want to say, or is that cleared up everything?
That's probably about it. Just looking forward to the class changes. There's been good progress on the changes going on there. Yes, it's been being worked on. It just takes a while. That's really what guns boils down to. A lot of this work that might seem very small actually has a lot of the coding impact or developer impact that goes behind the scenes that is a lot longer than a lot of people might expect. Here's a small example. Changing the value of energy for Enderman, changing it so it's no longer a half energy when you use teleport. That's actually a pretty significant coding change in development time. And you can't just expect that to just be super quick. Some changes we can do that are more quicker, like for example, when we change the class upgrades for different levels for like nerfing a value of damage from like 5 to 3 for a class, we can. That doesn't take too much time because we have the means to do it very quickly without much developer need. But a lot of other changes do need a developer, and when you need a developer, you need to make sure they have free time to be available for your for the minigame. And it's a lot of just waiting on whatever is available, was not available, and so forth. And it's just you have to accept that. It's no fault to developers at all. Just there's a lot of things in Hypixel that they have to work on. There's a lot of mini games that take a lot more time and effort to work on and keep that's working correctly. Because to be fair, Hypixel as a server and the content that's been in Hypixel pushes the just pushes Minecraft to its limits. There's so much of this server that you can't really do that easily without a lot of effort, a lot of involvement, and you just have to understand that and just like deal with it more or less because it's just how it works.
Okay, well, thanks for clearing everything up. You've answered a lot of questions the community have been asking today. Thanks for taking the time out of your day. Really appreciate this. But yeah, I think we'll end it there. So thanks again for being here. Hope everyone enjoyed who's watching, and see you later. Peace.